Stop playing with them, ooh.
Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross. Welcome to my podcast. This is where we talk about entrepreneurship, digital marketing, being a digital nomad, and much, much more. I really hope you enjoy the show. The law of attraction in business. As I've navigated the stormy seas of business for the last 25 years, crashing into many huge waves that nearly capsized me, I've often thought about the elusive nature of success. How do some make it big while so many others fail along the way? Is it a stroke of luck, or could there be more at play? Through my own experience, discussions with peers and mentors, not to mention hours of interviewing other entrepreneurs for my Extraordinary Entrepreneurs podcast, I've come to realise the often unseen influence of the law of attraction in shaping my own journey. My journey with the law of attraction began through watching a great friend of mine in action. She was slightly older than me and very dynamic, with a very terrifying and financially clued up mum who had coincidentally taught me at my high school. Witnessing Em's get up and go attitude, daily rituals of list making and unconscious visualisation, I observed firsthand the transformative power of intention and manifestation. Em trained as a nurse, worked as an air hostess, working care home shifts at home in between flights. She had been left a little two-bedroom flat by her grandmother, and she lived in it for a while, renting out the spare room. With the rise of the housing market, she used that equity to leverage her journey up the property ladder, supported by her mum and the knowledge of her accountant dad. Her to-do list would include items like visit mum, buy food, have a Mercedes convertible by the time I'm 30. Little did I know, watching these seemingly simple practices and being inspired by Em's success would set the stage for profound shifts in my own later life. I've always been an avid reader, but at a pivotal moment in my career, I stumbled across Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'll be honest, I was desperate with trying and failing, and although I hadn't yet heard the phrase about a madman doing the same things but expecting different results, I was ready to do something, anything, differently. I had just secured a great job with a great guy called Benny Gray, and I really wanted to make a go of it, not least to thank him for giving me a chance when things were very bleak. Attracted by the down-to-earth tone of the title of the book, and intrigued by the notion of success as a product of mindset and simple habits, I dived into the practical exercises with fervour. I was commuting to work in the West End from Kensal Rise initially, then from Worthing in West Sussex, and I had time to read, and more importantly, do the exercises on the train. Through this luxury of time to myself, time to think, and time to apply the things I was learning, I began rewiring my thoughts and beliefs, laying the groundwork for future success. Despite initial scepticism, I explored the personal development section of the books, etc. in Oxford Street, starting with the recommended reading in the back of the 7 Habits book. Over the years, fueled by encounters with works like The Secret, The Science of Getting Rich, and Think and Grow Rich, my journey with the law of attraction continued to unfold through diverse individuals and resources. From motivational speakers like Jack Black to profound insights from Joseph Jaworski's Synchronicity book, each encounter added depth to my understanding of spirituality and success. Things went great for many years, but then, amidst personal and professional challenges, including the devastating impact of the global financial crisis in 2008-2009, I faced a crisis of faith in the law of attraction itself. Yet, as things got very bleak indeed, I found crumbs of comfort in the law of attraction principles again, albeit in an unusual format. My great friend Andy Shaw, himself no stranger to the mysteries of the mind, told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Look at it this way. If your mind and your thoughts can attract great things and amazing people to you, it can also attract great big piles of poop. Every negative thought you entertain in that brain of yours is listing and attracting a pile of poop that is now travelling very slowly through the universe to land on you from a great height. The sooner you stop the negativity, the sooner the poop will stop dumping on you." Through steely control of my poop attraction machine, I slowly built my business life again and somehow emerged stronger than ever. My journey culminated in a profound realization. The law of attraction isn't just a belief, it's a tangible force of physics and nature shaping our reality. From attracting ideal partnerships to rebuilding businesses from the ground up, I witnessed firsthand the transformative power of aligning thoughts with intentions. Through my experiences and those of my business peers, I became a fervent advocate for the transformative potential of the law of attraction in business and beyond. My journey with the law of attraction offers valuable insights for fellow entrepreneurs embarking on their own quest for success. Here are some of the takeaways. Define your goals. Clarify your intentions with precision and clarity. Write them down like my friend Em did every day in a to-do list. Give them lots of detail, visualize them, and imbue them with unwavering belief. Daydreaming is your tool here. Cultivate a positive mindset. Guard your thoughts diligently, ensuring they align with your goals and aspirations. Replace negative or limiting beliefs with empowering and grateful thoughts. Take inspired action. Combine intention with deliberate action. Trust in your own intuition and the processes I've shared on my YouTube channel, remaining open to opportunities that align with your vision. Embrace resilience. View setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning. Maintain faith in your vision, knowing that challenges are lessons and temporary detours on your path to success. Express gratitude. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude for the blessings in your life. Celebrate your achievements and share your wisdom generously with others. I truly believe that gratitude is the secret of success and happiness. Work with me. Hire a coach who's not only achieved what you want to achieve, practically speaking, but who will catch you when you voice those unconscious limiting and negative beliefs and gently remind you to change them to grateful ones quickly. Visit my Work with Nicola page on my website at nicolacairncross.com to find out more about your different options. Daily practices that can help. Visualize your success daily. Morning visualizations work for some people. Start each day with a few moments of visualization. You can do it just after you wake up, before you get up. Picture yourself successfully running your side hustle. Imagine the details, the tasks you're doing, the customers you're helping, the positive feedback you're receiving, and the financial rewards. Feel the emotions associated with those achievements. Vision board. Create a vision board that represents your goals and dreams. I recently redid mine. It's a really pleasant experience. Include images, words, and quotes that inspire you and remind you of your business objectives. Place it somewhere you'll see it daily to keep your goals top of mind. I've got mine on my laptop desktop, so every time I boot my computer up, that's the first thing I see. It makes me feel good every single day. 2. Practice positive affirmations. Write down positive affirmations that resonate with your business goals. Examples might include, I am enough. I am capable of achieving my business dreams. I attract opportunities and success effortlessly. Or, my side hustle is growing and thriving. Daily repetition. Repeat these affirmations to yourself daily if you can bring yourself to, preferably in front of a mirror. However you do it, the key is to say them with conviction and belief in the power behind the words. 3. Journaling and gratitude journaling. Writing a daily journal is invaluable for getting those swirling, confusing, negative thoughts out of your head. Write a little or a lot. Just write until you can't think of anything else to say. Then write a little bit more. It really can help. Daily gratitude. Each evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for, especially focus on aspects relating to your side hustle. This practice helps shift your focus to what's working well and cultivates a positive mindset. Future gratitude. Write down things you're grateful for as if they've already happened. For example, I am grateful for the influx of new customers this month, or I am thankful for the positive feedback my clients are giving. 4. Take inspired action. Daily goals. Set small, manageable goals each day that move you closer to your largest business objectives. The law of attraction works best when combined with proactive effort. Follow your intuition. Pay attention to your intuition and gut feelings. When you feel inspired to take a certain action, do it without hesitation. This could be anything from reaching out to a potential client to trying a new marketing strategy. I recently did this. I reached out to someone who was attempting a big goal and he was clueless about social media. Well, not so much clueless, just time constrained and without a great internet connection. I've offered to help him for a month with the proviso that if he then succeeds in this big goal, he hires me to manage his social media for him. My intuition told me to do this. Just had a big pull in my gut that told me to say yes. 5, surround yourself with positivity. Everyone needs a positive environment to succeed. Create a positive and inspiring workspace. Keep it clean, organised, and filled with items that motivate you. Supportive community. Surround yourself with positive and supportive people who uplift you. Join communities or groups where you can share your journey and receive encouragement. By integrating these daily practices into your routine, you'll not only harness the power of the law of attraction, but also build a strong foundation for your new business. Remember, success starts with the right mindset, and when you align your thoughts and actions with your goals, the universe has a way of responding in kind. Doors open, mentors appear, and as outlined in the marvellous book Synchronicity, The Inner Path of Leadership by Joseph Jaworski, magic starts to happen. Here's my final thoughts on the topic. As I think back on my journey with the law of attraction, I'm reminded of its subtle but profound impact on my many entrepreneurial endeavours. Through intention, belief, and much dogged, sometimes inspired action, I've witnessed the transformative power of aligning thoughts with intentions. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or a budding startup founder, I encourage you to embrace the principles of the law of attraction in your journey towards success. It can't hurt, right? Remember, your thoughts really do become things, so dare to dream big and believe in the magic of manifestation. Above all, avoid those slow-travelling, levitating piles of poop always ready to dump on you. How do you do that? Replace a negative, limiting belief or thought with a grateful one. That'll do it. Entrepreneurial personality types. There are a number of other business coaches I follow to keep an eye on latest developments in the space and whether there's anything I need to learn or brush up on. While watching a James Sinclair video on YouTube, his business podcast is great, check it out. I was scrolling through Nicola Bird's website. Nicola always has beautiful websites, and now she's a keen gardener. She uses flowers to illustrate her posts. Nicola's got very into human design, and as I've heard other people mention it recently, I took her quiz just to see if it would throw up anything interesting. It did, and then something amazing happened. I'll tell you about that in a moment. It's actually what prompted my law of attraction for business post previously. My journey through personality profiling. From the usual Myers-Briggs type indicator, MBTI, to the Colby A index, which highlights your preferred method of taking action, and the very illuminating Wealth Dynamics test by Roger Hamilton, I've dabbled in a smorgasbord of personality profiling tools on my quest for self-discovery. Each one offered its own unique insights into who I am and how I operate as an entrepreneur. So I'm a big fan of this activity. Most can be done online and don't require an enormous investment. Now, here's the kicker. How does knowing your personality type actually benefit you in the entrepreneurial world? Let me break it down a bit. Choosing your path. Armed with insights from various personality profiling tools, I was able to pinpoint my strengths and weaknesses as an entrepreneur. This clarity helped me choose a path that aligned with my natural inclinations and passions. Finding your tribe. Personality profiling tools also help me connect with like-minded individuals who share my values and work ethic. Whether it's finding business partners or network with fellow entrepreneurs, knowing my personality type has been invaluable in forming authentic connections. Optimizing your workflow. Understanding my work preferences and communication styles has allowed me to streamline my workflows and create a productive work environment. It's all about finding the right balance between creativity and structure. Working with clients. As we all tend to think that everyone thinks like us, as a countermeasure, I ask my coaching and mentoring clients to take, as a minimum, the Wealth Dynamics test, developed by successful entrepreneur Roger Hamilton. It's very accurate and it shows me your fastest route to the money. The human design revelation. Just when I thought I had uncovered all there was to know about myself, via Nicola's beautiful website, I stumbled upon human design, a system that apparently blends ancient wisdom with modern science to uncover our unique energy dynamics. Taking the quiz, I discovered that I'm a projector, a revelation that rather surprisingly sparked a profound shift in how I perceive myself and my entrepreneurial journey, this late in my life. Embracing my projector essence. As a projector, I belong to a distinct group known for guiding others towards new, better, and more efficient ways of doing things. I kid you not, that was actually written on the page. That's exactly what I do. Typical entrepreneurs, that's what we do generally. Here's how being a projector influences my entrepreneurial journey. Harnessing my energy. As a projector, I have a unique ability to see energy dynamics and patterns in others. That's true. That allows me to offer invaluable insights and guidance to those around me, making me a natural leader in the entrepreneurial space. Honouring my need for rest. One of the key aspects of being a projector is understanding my energy flow and honouring my body's needs. While I may not have sustained outputs of manual energy like other types, I thrive when I prioritise rest and rejuvenation after periods of intense energy output. This explains why I feel so low after attending conferences and speaking gigs. I often have to pop up to my room in the hotel to recharge my batteries as well. Both of my children are the same, confident and outgoing, but loving time alone. Embracing collaboration. As a projector, I thrive in roles where I can direct work and guide others towards greater productivity and fulfillment. My family always joke that whenever there's a big project on, I'm the one with a clipboard waving my arms around and directing everyone else in what they need to do. By forming partnerships based on complementary skill sets and personalities, I can form a stronger, more resilient business. Embracing the journey. Entrepreneurship is a wild ride, one that's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected detours. But armed with a little self-awareness and a whole lot of grit, we can navigate the entrepreneurial landscape with confidence and grace. More importantly, we can avoid the pitfalls of trying to build a business that doesn't suit us by doing the things that wear us out, while not playing to our strengths. One of the things the report said about projectors was that I might want to consider easing off on the hustling, getting things done kind of energy, but try waiting for invitations instead, then using my intuition to decide if the invitation fitted in with my direction and energy at the time. As soon as I had finished reading that, I'm not kidding, a Facebook Messenger voice note invitation came in for something rather marvellous, from someone rather marvellous. Coincidence? Waiting for invitations, remember? So you ready to dive in? My fellow entrepreneurial adventurers, are you ready to unlock your full potential through the power of personality profiling? I personally highly recommend the Colby A, Wealth Dynamics, and now Human Design. But no matter your personality profiling tool of choice, there's a bucket load of insights waiting to be discovered. So grab your favourite beverage, find one of the above tests online, and buckle up. Let's embark on this epic journey of self-discovery together. When you've done your Wealth Dynamics test, do feel free to book in for one of my triage sessions where we can talk about the business model that best suits your personality type, and I'll tell you stories of other clients just like you who have succeeded just as you're going to. Come along to nicolacairnext.com/diary and book in for a triage session. I'll see you over there. And now we can enjoy part 5 of my interview with Andy Shaw, great friend, property multimillionaire, and best-selling author 3 times over. I really hope you've enjoyed this interview series as much as I enjoyed recording it. Do let me know by commenting or coming over to one of my social media profiles. What did you learn from Andy's story? How do you see how people can position themselves mentally, psychologically, and financially to survive whatever's happening to us at the moment?
I mean, I don't have ongoing businesses anymore. I stopped being in business several years ago, and I was considering new businesses when this hit. So I fortunately realised that I'm not going to need to do any of that. So what I've spent my last few years doing is repositioning my assets into things that will excel going forward.
Discovered that there are wealth cycles and
absolutely,
and different assets go in different cycles.
Yeah, entrepreneurs are in a lot of trouble. We're going into what's going to be the worst storm that we've ever seen. It's going to be worse than the Great Depression. However, things do thrive in the Great Depression. Things thrived in the Great Depression. Al Capone, as an example. I don't encourage that, but the point is there are businesses that will thrive, and I think we're going back to real stuff. I think we're going back to people producing things. I think farming is going to become exceptionally good, local. We're going to be going hyper localized on so much stuff. If I was thinking about going into business at the moment, I would be scared to death of it because of what I can see is coming. I'm just not. The problem is I'm at a point in my life when I'm not prepared to do stuff. It's difficult for me to look at it from a current entrepreneur and without the exact situation. Because if somebody said to me, right, I'm just about to spend $500,000 on this property, then I want to put 150,000 capital into it, and I go, what's the business? And they tell me the business, and I could tell them whether it's going to succeed or fail. That's easy. Because if they're going into a sector that is really going to struggle with this, it's like, let's say they're going to go into a pub or something, and they're going to become a landlord. I had a friend asked me recently, what do I advise him about a pub he wants to take on the license of? And I said, avoid it like the plague. I said, can you just carry on, because it's a very high paid job. Very high paid work. He's a tradesman. And I said, if you can avoid that pub for the next few years wanting it, then you're going to have a golden opportunity to pick one up for next to nothing. And it's going to be a wonderful time to be a landlord when they deregulate a lot of the stuff that's going on. But right now, it's a death spiral, in my opinion, going into that sort of business right this second. But you'd have to give me the exact business for me to be able to answer where that particular business is going to go.
Yeah. So what do you foresee being the biggest challenges entrepreneurs are going to face in the next year or two? 5 years?
Well, credit's going to dry up. So the banks are, effectively that's going to suckle we're going to have a short period of time when the banks might loosen, when they start to print some more money, print some more currency. It's not money. And we might have a period of time where the credit is loose again for a little while. And then we enter are we going to enter hyperinflation, or are we going to enter stagflation? Some say, well, we were already there. It's.
Can you just define those two things for anyone watching that doesn't understand what those are?
I'll get it wrong if I know what stagflation is, but to articulate it.
Stagflation, I think, is when prices are going up dramatically, but wages are not.
Yeah, basically. There's other bits of it as well, but and hyperinflation is where the value of the currency is going down against real goods,
which it already is, isn't it? I mean, I've seen. I mean, food. Some of the food things I buy have gone down. They've gone up in price, but they've halved in quantity in the packets.
Well, the problem is that people don't understand that inflation is theft. Yeah, the government prints into existence, and they say we're aiming for 2% inflation. Well, there was 90 years in the 1900s, when there was inflation. There was no inflation. There was deflation of about 3 to 5%, I think it was.
Because as production got more and more efficient, the cost of things came down.
Should come down. But the problem is we've got a yardstick that is constant. It's like how wide's this room? Well, this room's 6 meters. Well, we come down tomorrow morning, and somebody's decided the meter isn't that long anymore. It's now that long. Well, how wide is it now? It's 48 meters. And so every morning we come down. Yeah, the value of money changes. Because money's gold, silver. That's money. And the problem is the currency is where they rob the value of money from. So effectively, by them printing 2% more, all it's doing is robbing a little bit of value from every other pound in existence. So they might not be able to raise the income tax on everybody to 40%, but they're getting everybody by a 10 to 15% inflation a year, and swearing blind that it's not 10 to 15%, it's actually 3 or 4%. It's just ridiculous. It's pure theft. And the problem is hardly anybody sees it because people don't understand how money works. Yeah. And because they can't see inflation. I mean, I made a fortune out of inflation. Inflation, as far as I'm concerned, great role, as a property investor. You want inflation to come in because it wipes out the value of the loans you've taken out on it, and it increases the value of the asset, the nominal value of the asset. And so the problem is, people like property investors love inflation, but the general public don't. So we're in a situation where we're going to see a lot more inflation. I mean, we've had the first wave of inflation, and now the government, the Fed, and everybody are out there saying, "Oh yeah, we're beating inflation." No, they're not. They haven't got a clue what's coming. They haven't got a clue. The second wave of inflation is probably going to start hitting in a couple of months' time, and people start to notice it, and then it's a really bad wave. And the 70s had 3 waves of inflation, and the only way they curtailed the problem in the 70s was that we had low debt. America had low debt, and they haven't got that now. They've got
it's just 34 trillion.
Yeah, it's just the problem is that they've got no way of fixing it this time. So where does it go? So we either have a chronically bad depression, or we have hyperinflation of certain things and depression on other things. It's just dreadful. Everywhere you look at this, we're going into the worst kind of situation. But the other side of it is this is going to sweep away a load of the bad stuff, because when what they call money dies, then real stuff starts to emerge. And people talk about the CBDCs and that sort of thing. Good luck with that. Money is about one thing: confidence. Right? We have confidence that gold is there. We don't have confidence in our currencies anymore, and those who are paying attention don't. And the general public are slowly waking up to this, and they don't realise that they've stolen, they've robbed from their own confidence, and it's being lost. They've made so many mistakes. I mean, the list of geopolitical mistakes I talk about. Yeah. And one of the biggest geopolitical mistakes of all time was the sanctions on Russia. And that will be looked back in 10, 20 years. And I called it on the day, if you remember. I said this is one of the biggest geopolitical mistakes of all time. And they've made that, and now they've made another one. They've stolen some of Russia's money, and now they're encouraging the Europeans to do it. So they are. These are going to go down as some of the biggest geopolitical mistakes in history of all time, and we're watching it on a day-to-day basis. So, businesses to go into is real stuff. Yeah, it might not be there yet. People are going to struggle because it's like, well, it's so much cheaper getting it from China. Well, that could be going away in a way we've not seen before. So I would say real stuff, because when you get down to it, what do people actually need? Well, they need fuel. So oil's going to do particularly well. Obviously the ridiculousness of the green agenda is finally people are waking up to that. I've been calling that for so many years. I couldn't see how people got fooled by it, but sure enough, they did.
Well, brainwashing's so intense at universities, isn't it? The kids are coming out, and I mean, my son went out with someone who was a big activist in the green thing, and he and I have to agree to disagree, because he's so firmly entrenched in the ideology of climate change.
I know what you mean, but for anybody who wants to get their head out of their backside on that particular subject, go and watch Planet of the Humans. It was a great documentary, cleared it all up, and that was green activists who wrote that, who made that documentary. Michael Moore was part of it, and he got a load of bad reputation from it. But that really lays it all out. What's going on? Why it doesn't work? Why
there are resources. Let's talk about your entrepreneurs who. There are resources where you can actually go and find out what's really going on. The problem is that most people don't want to look. Coming back to the history thing, I think I've got a theory now that the people who loved history, studied history, read books about, kings and queens and tales of daring do, are the ones who've got an inner core value system that made them able to recognize what the evil that's going on in the world. And that's another thing. You mentioned spirituality earlier. I went through a long phase, stood up in my assembly at the age of 8 and said, I'm not doing this because I don't believe in God. I then went through a long phase of being an atheist. And this whole pandemic thing has opened my eyes to the people are doing evil things. Yeah. And it's opened my eyes to the reality that if evil exists to this extent in the world, there must be good. And I do know lots of good people and who've got this inner core of a value system. Who knows where they've got it from, whether it's reading history or whatever. The
vast majority of people are good.
I agree with that.
Identified is the vast majority of people are not that intelligent. Actually, they are intelligent, and actually that's a bit of a hurdle at times as well. People are not that smart.
The academics, you've written a great Oh, I just want to mention that you've got a Substack where you write about random topics as they occur, and you've written a great Substack on why academics are having a really hard time with coming.
Well, they're really going to struggle because everything they build their whole foundation on is actually sand, and so the problem is as they go to grab onto it, as the woo world is more made apparent to them, they are going to try and stand on things, and it's just, of course, it's made of sand. It's just going to crumble. And so this is why the academics are really going to struggle in the woo. And as we go more into this period of time where we realise that the line, I can't remember which CIA guy said it, but he said when it got to a stage where everything everybody believes is a lie, we know we've completed our task. Well, that's where we're heading. That's where we are. And we're coming out of that where now it's a case of people are going, oh yeah, that's a lie too. Oh, that's a lie too. Oh, right, that's how this works. And so I think it's a great awakening that we're going through, and I'm very, very positive about a time in the future. I'm not sure exactly what that time is. People try to be positive, and they're all wrong. It's not about trying to be positive. You just, I look at it and think, well, this is going to end up in the harder they lock things down, the more it's inevitable that it's going to go the other way. So the more they
talk about a lockdown in June, aren't they? Airbnb have put out things saying that people might be allowed to travel home, but then they won't be allowed to travel out.
It's not just a lockdown. It's the more that we get enforcement by the government. The problem is people have forgotten what the government should be. The government shouldn't be the rulers of life. The government should be administrators. And until we go back to that, and they will be forced to go back to that as their money dies, as their currency dies, we end up with solving problems. Because what will happen is, as soon as everything breaks down, people will just fix things. Because
the entrepreneurs are fixers, and they'll leap into action.
It's going to be a golden age for entrepreneurs. Really is going to become a golden age. Everyone says, "Oh, capitalism hasn't worked." Well, we haven't got capitalism. We haven't had capitalism my entire life. So, when a company can go and lobby the government and make it so that smaller companies can't get into that industry unless they conform to, it's like the banking industry. Unless you complete this $50 million worth of work, you can't even become a bank. It's ridiculous.
I mean, what you do, as Peter Schiff found out, they could still take it away from you.
Yeah, crazy. So the problem is that people don't understand capitalism, people don't understand socialism, people definitely don't understand communism, and so the trouble is we're dealing with a world of unfortunately we're moving along at the speed of the slowest person. It's for somebody like myself's point of view, it's like this is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I know. So coming back to your average business person right now, what could all business people do to get ready for what you think is going to be a worse depression than the 1920s and 30s?
Well, you're going to the things that thrive are real stuff. So commodities are going to do extremely well. Gold, silver are going to do extremely well. Gold, silver miners will do extremely well until the countries decide that they would rather, what's it called? I can't remember the word. Where they steal the company, nationalise it. So that could do very well for a while. There's a great book called When Money Dies, free PDF online, and it tells the story of the Weimar Republic, the death of the currency there.
By minute. It tells it minute by minute. Incredible.
It is incredible. And if you want to see how, now, will it go as bad as that? We don't know. But will it go to a version of that? Yes, it will. The problem is you can't do what they're doing without the consequences. You can, they're at the moment we're sort of levitating. You can ignore reality, but you can't avoid the consequences of reality. And the consequences of reality are going to smack them in the mouth at some point. Now, we don't know when that's going to be. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of bank failures later this year. But we don't know imminently as well. But we don't know what the effects of that are going to be, other than we know that the Fed are going to print money. Therefore, the Bank of England will print money. Therefore, the Canadian Bank, all the central banks are going to do what they normally do, just print and flood the system with currency, and they think that's going to work, and it will for a while. And then after that, you only have to go and watch Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money.
Absolutely amazing series.
Yeah, number 7 is the one you definitely. They're all great, but number 7 lays out what's going to happen. In my opinion, we don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. We don't know the depth it's going to go to, but realistically, my children have moved their money to gold and silver. I've moved mine to gold and silver. And go into assets that are going to do well, that thrived in the 1930s. The best performing asset was home stake mining, I think it was. The oil stocks did exceptionally well because they're going to need energy. Farm stocks are probably going to do quite well at that point. Farm producers, but all of that side. If you're doing things that people need, it's like my future son-in-law is just completing his college stuff on being an electrician. He's going into a job that gets paid exceptionally well because when the power goes out, they need people like him. Plumbers are the ones that are absolutely certain, aren't they, to have work, because if the thing leaks, you need a plumber there. So manual trades are going to do exceptionally well. So we're going to see a regrowth in those sectors as people need things fixed, because people are going to be more going for the stuff they need rather than the stuff they want. The self-actualization stuff, which is what I did in the last part of my careers, I think that's going to take a back seat completely. So when you
say self-actualization, what do you mean?
Personal development, taking seeing how you can improve your mind and things like that.
Luxury too.
Yeah, I think that those sort of things are going to take a back seat as opposed to when people need to feed themselves. I'm looking at things thinking there's opportunity around at the moment, but the real opportunities are going to come, the real easy opportunities are going to come in 3, 4, 5 years' time. So that's what I'm focusing towards.
You've just given me a business idea. I'll talk about it afterwards. Although a load of old rubbish is going to be thrown at us, you're not concerned about CBDCs, you're not concerned about the global totalitarian takeover, because they won't have the money to finance the bribes and the coercion, because the financial system's going to go first. Is Correct. That what you're saying?
I would say they'll keep pushing. I mean, you only have to, anyone who's read Atlas Shrugged and how that collapsed there, effectively I did what, I was a real producer in the, going in from the 90s into the noughties sort of thing. I was one of those producers. I was creating a lot of jobs for people. I was, running a lot of businesses, and I looked at it and went, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I went on strike, which is what happened in Atlas Shrugged. I mean, you only have to look around now, and virtually everything that's going on in the world was detailed by Ayn Rand in Atlas Shrugged, and the corporatism, the cronyism, that sort of thing, the death of capitalism. And she nailed it all in the late 40s, early 50s. At the time it was thought to be ridiculous. And sure enough,
it's thought to be sci-fi, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so, you only have to, if you want an entertaining, I mean, it's a little hard going, but I loved it. If you want an entertaining picture of what we're in store for, it's in there. If you want a nuts and bolts, go and look at When Money Dies. Money and Inflation in France, I think, is another good book.
I read both of them on your recommendation, and the Money and Inflation in France book really nailed it for me, because it talked about what happened to the ordinary people just after the French Revolution, and how they went through about 16 or 17 currencies in the space of 3-4 years until
I can't remember the details.
Napoleon came back and put them back on a gold standard. It was chaos in France.
Yeah, and that's what we're effectively where this ends is we're back on some level of a gold standard, probably with a digital currency backed by gold. That's probably where this ends. What size will government be? Not sure. I would like to think that we've gone back. We've enacted some form of direct democracy, and
local councils with referendum voting on big issues.
Yeah, that would be my preferred choice. But obviously, I only get one say in it, and most of me actually getting what's needed is unlikely. So I'll just, I don't make the rules. I just play by the rules. Yeah. So it's I've done very well playing by their rules.
You've got andyshaw.substack.com where you write, and I particularly recommend.
I don't know what it's called. I thought
that's what it's called. andyshaw.substack.com. Yeah.
Right,
and you've got a particularly fine series of articles on there called How to Discern Well. 1
Yeah,
to
'cause
5.
that's severely lacking. I wrote 5 articles on discernment because obviously that's the key skill. I think that's actually one of the key skills that's going to be needed in the future. And from what I can see, there's hardly any level of discernment in the world.
Well, I mean, I know myself how difficult it is to tell as they fire new rubbish at us whether it's true or not. And we spend our whole time trying to work out if something's true or not. I mean, so many examples. We haven't got time to get into it. But there is a series of what they call distractions that they throw at us all the time to distract us from what they really don't want us to be looking at. And one of those is the developing situation with the alien spacecraft and or biologics, as they call them. What do you think is going on with all of that? Because there is more and more stuff being released by the government all the time. Is it real? Are they from a different dimension? Are they from outer space? Are they just fake from the government?
I don't understand why you need to know.
Because I'm interested and I want to know.
Well, then you
I've
just got to
always been a
sit and wait.
sci-fi.
You've got to sit and wait for data. I mean, first off, I'd like to correct something I said earlier. I used to think David Icke was a complete loon.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
good
I
point.
don't think he's a complete loon anymore. Is he
He's
out
been
there at
shouting
times?
for 30 years about all of this, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was, complete propaganda was done on him. And, I'd like to shake his hand one day to apologise for what I thought of him. But I know that wouldn't mean anything to him at all. But so it'll never happen. But the point being, I regret how I used to think without being an open-minded to looking what was out there. As to that sort of thing, I look at it and think to myself, well, we'll find out in due course if you want to go on potential, because everyone looks at it, everyone tries to get a black or white, this is right or this is wrong, and that's where they're going wrong. Yeah, it's the woo. There's nothing solid in the woo, right? It's the world of the unknown. So you've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Not knowing. Oh, it's so hard though.
And so we haven't got enough definitive proof. And you could say, well, yes, but I've seen this and that's it. It's absolutely uncertain. Well, no, you're only 99% certain. And this is why I talk about things on a probability scale. When I introduced that, because one of the reasons I set up that webcast originally was I wanted to get on record how accurate my predictions were, because I was fed up with people saying, oh, yeah, because I go, well, I predicted that. And they go, oh, yeah, so did I. And it's like, no, I'll say it on the day that it happens.
We've actually got a record of everything you've said.
I got hundreds of hours of, I called it and it's happened exactly as I said it was going to happen. And, we had this section on one time was Andy was right.
We every week, at least twice, we have to go, oh, Andy was right about that again.
That's funny to me. But the point being, you're trying to judge something without enough information. So you're trying to make an end determination of something that's in flux. It's like, well, why are you trying to do that? Why not just continue to watch, continue to observe, be interested with it? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's like, why are you trying to reach a judgment on it? Yeah, you do not need to reach judgments. Observation is judgment. Judgment is weakness, and observation is power. Yeah, and so I just observe it all, right? And when things, it's like when I was doing my study on the COVID stuff, I wasn't looking for judgment. I was looking for observation. So I was just going there and I was observing it. And after 10 days, I figured out what was going on. And I came back and we had the chat with everybody on the webcast. And after the webcast, we have our little chat together, the three of us. And I said, right, I wasn't prepared to say this yet on the webcast, but I've got to call bullshit on this entire COVID thing. And you and Paul were like in shock because I was saying this to you, because it was, I'd gone away and observed enough, and then it was self-evidently a con, yeah. And this was, I don't know, early part of April 2020, and so it's the first time I'd gone and studied it. Went away, this is a con, okay. And what everybody thinks is, well, why are they conning and that sort of thing? Well, we haven't got that yet. All I know is it's a con. Right. And so you're trying to judge something. Why do you need to judge it? So that's why I introduced the probability scale to people. Where are you on this? Well, do masks work to prevent? I went highly unlikely. Yeah, you remember this. And I went through every single thing. Right. There's never
I was literally in shock at the time because I couldn't believe that people who I thought were bumbling but largely benevolent could lie to us on the scale they were lying to us. And be that evil to go ahead and do what they did next.
Yeah, but this is all psychology. There's so much of it. There's bribery in some areas and psychology in other areas. And it's incredible, because this has been fascinating for anyone who's an amateur psychologist like I am. It's been absolutely fascinating to watch what's gone on.
Okay, so I could talk to you for hours about this, and I would probably invite you back because it's just been so interesting. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, think about either investing in businesses that are providing real goods and services that people are going to need in the event of a financial crash or depression. Move as many of your assets as possible into real money, gold, silver, and we could have a whole episode about Bitcoin. Reduce debt as much as possible, or does that not make a difference?
No, it does make a difference. But it's one thing for somebody who's gone bankrupt to be able to handle the fact that you've got creditors banging on the door and that sort of thing. And it's a completely different situation for somebody who hasn't been through it. So because I've gone down that road before, the debt thing doesn't bother me in the same way it will bother most people. And in the ideal world, you get rid of debt. But obviously that's not possible. And we are very, very, very late in the day. I think we are, potentially a few weeks away from a major move up in silver and another major lift up in gold as well. We are moving. It's, when we first started it, when I first laid it all out and I said, right, this is what's going on. And after you and Paul and some of the others had a chance to digest it over a few weeks, then it was like, right, well, what do we do now? Right. Yeah. And that was, and I'm always reminded of the line in the film, the Michael Burry line in the film. The Big Short. He said, I might be early, but I'm not wrong. It was sometime last year. I said, we're waiting. The only thing that's missing is a financial validation of the theory. And we had that last year. And it was actually the early part of the year, late part of the year.
The bank started going down.
Yeah. And it was, whereas the pensions crisis was the first proper validation. If you remember, I said...
not many people know about that, do they?
Well, everybody nearly lost their pension in the UK in a blink of an eye. I said we should get validation in September of 2022. And it came out in October 2022. So it was, I didn't quite get the temporal right on that, but I was pretty close.
Okay. We're going to have to stop. We've run out of time completely. I've absolutely loved every minute of it. It's always a pleasure and a joy. And thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And if my audience love you, I'm going to invite you back.
I'm sure they will. Wait with bated breath. Have a wonderful week. See you on Thursday.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Andy Shaw. andyshaw.substack.com. And I'll speak to you very soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross of nicolacairnext.com. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show today. We've got lots of resources on the website, so do come over to check them out. And by all means, feel free to book yourself into my diary at nicolacairnext.com/diary. I love to talk to entrepreneurs.